one. So we're continuing our learning of Mishnah Shabbat. We're going to look at Mishnayot 7, 8, 9. 7 and 8 have to do with, we're introducing this topic of Amir Lenochre, things having to do with the prohibition of a Jew asking a non-Jew to do something for them, specifically for their needs on Shabbat, and some disagreements between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai in that area, and some other points of disagreement between them. So let's take a look. Zayin, Mishnah 7. Beit Shammai omrim, ein mochrin la'oved kochavim, ve'ein to'anin imo, ve'ein magbihin alav, ela kedei shiyagia lamakom karov. Beit Shammai say, we may not sell to a Gentile, nor help him load, nor lift a load upon him, unless there is sufficient time for him to reach a nearby place. So what is Beit Shammai concerned with? If you're doing business transaction, you're selling something to a non-Jewish person from your Jewish business on Friday afternoon, or you're going to help them load their animal, or to put a load onto their shoulders, to help them put a bag on themselves. It may look as if they're about to do something for you, and it's going to continue into Shabbat. So you're asking them to do something for you on Shabbat, unless he says, or the school of Shammai says, unless there's sufficient time and you know that the destination is nearby and it's clear, then it would be okay. But if it even at all looks like a Jew is asking a non-Jew to do something for them that continues on Shabbat, Beit Shammai is against it. Uveit Hillel matirin, and Beit Hillel says it's okay. So long as it's done during the day, it's not yet Shabbat, and the person starts out on their path and it's still daytime, Shabbat hasn't come in yet, then Beit Hillel would permit it. Mishnah 8. Beit Shammai omrim, ein notnin orot la'abdan, v'lo chelim lechovetz oved kochavim, ela chedei shiyasu mib'od yom. Uchulan Beit Hillel matirin im hashamesh. So Beit Shammai say, we may not give hides to a non-Jewish tanner, nor clothing to a non-Jewish launderer, unless there is sufficient time that they be completed while it is yet day. So this is the same kind of issue. We're worried about the work is going to be continued onto Shabbat, and these are the malachot that we're dealing with are biblical malachot, and Beit Shammai, they have a concern that if there's not sufficient time, then they might be doing it for the Jews' benefit on Shabbat, and then that would be a prohibition. But in all of these cases, Beit Hillel permit the act while the sun is still up, so long as you are giving them the hides before that, or you're giving them the clothing to launder, even if there's not sufficient time to complete the labor, so long as you're not giving them to them on Shabbat, as long as it's still daytime when you deliver those things, when you give it to them to do the work upon those things, then it's okay, according to Beit Hillel. And as is typical, we're going to end up holding according to the opinion of Beit Hillel. And then let's look at one more. Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, Noagin hayu veit Abba, shehayu notnin kelei lavan lechoves oved kochavim, shlosha yamim kodem laShabbat. So Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel is sharing a personal anecdote, a story. My father's household used to give white clothes to the non-Jewish launderer 3 days before Shabbat. So white clothes, which in that time would have been more difficult to clean, would take a longer time. He wanted to give 3 whole days. There's no chance that they don't have the opportunity to finish this work well before Shabbat. He wanted it very early. Maybe he picked it up after Shabbat and not on Friday, but he picked it up on Sunday, and they could have theoretically been doing the work on Shabbat, but there was more than enough time for them to complete the task before Shabbat. Continuing on, V'shavin elu va'elu shetoanin korot Beit Habad v'igulei Hagat. And both concur, meaning Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai, that we may place the beams of the olive press and the rollers of the wine press, meaning you can do those things before Shabbat, even if they're going to continue into Shabbat. So what is this about this case that's different for Beit Shammai? We already know that Beit Hillel would be okay with that, but why is Beit Shammai agreeing with Beit Hillel on this case? What do we need to know about this case? So the way that olive oil or wine would be made in this time, I'm not sure how it's done today. It's probably maybe in a similar way, but they would be crushed a lot before. Most of the oil would have been extracted from the olives, let's say in the case of olive oil, already, and then these large beams are placed on top of those remnants of already crushed olives that most of the oil already came from, and let to sit for a long time so that the remainder comes out. So the majority of the labor was done. The majority of the act of mefarek, the malacha, of separating juice from a fruit or something that grows from the ground, was already done. And this process is no longer the biblical prohibition. It's rabbinic prohibition. So Beit Shammai is being more lenient here about this rabbinic prohibition continuing. So he thinks, or the school of Shammai thinks that for biblical prohibitions, even if you start them before Shabbat, they can't continue into Shabbat, a non-Jew doing them for you. However, just those labors being done on their own, even if like you're setting that up for yourself. So if it's a biblical prohibition, it wouldn't be allowed to continue into Shabbat, even if it was started up before. But for rabbinic prohibition, Beit Shammai agree with Beit Hillel and are more lenient here. Okay, so we'll continue with Mishnah 10 next week. Thank you for joining and wishing everyone a great week. Bye.